to be able to learn, not be apprehensive or scared for AI, but know how to use AI in an astute way. Not going to two different extremes. One extreme is using it without recognizing the risk, and the other extreme is being so scared that you don't dare to touch it, right? And chapter 4 is really wrapping up the paper in terms of how do you forge global partnerships and cooperation. Here, recognizing that small states oftentimes have to work together with each other. We are resource-strapped. We face many challenges, such as our small size, smaller markets, small domestic markets. We don't reach economies of scale. How do we help each other by building our capacity together, by joining forces with each other and exchanging knowledge and resources? A very quick mention about Digital Forum of Small States. As I mentioned, the playbook was launched as part of our DFORCE initiative. It was launched 32 years ago. FORCE was launched 32 years ago, really as a platform for small states to discuss common issues. We recognized that digital was coming up more and more, hence why 2 years ago we launched Digital Force, right, which is really meant to tackle digital issues. DFORCE is really meant to be a community to exchange views among like-minded small states. And we have done a few things. We've launched DFORCE fellowship and executive programs. The pictures on your right hand of the slide show some of these programs at work. One of it was, I think, just last week, and that's on the top right-hand corner. And the bottom right-hand corner was, at Asia Tech Conference in May. It's really about sharing best practices in a variety of topics: data, AI, quantum standards, etc. To sum up my presentation, I think we want to help contribute to global norms, right? As described earlier, what we've done, we've tried to be as interoperable as possible. We've mapped with a dozen different organizations or parties or IOs, right? We've mapped with the US NIST, with G7, with ISO IEC, and we've had many other bilateral collaborations across the board to really work together to see how can we build on this together. But beyond that, we hope to build consensus as well. And so we are working with our countries in ASEAN, in Southeast Asia, on a variety of things. An ASEAN guide on AI governance and ethics, as well as a work group. We work with multiple parties, including the OECD, UN, and GPA. And lastly, the network of AI safety institutes, which is getting a lot of limelight nowadays. And we have our own in Singapore. And how do we collaborate with other ACs to advance AI safety testing? Yes, and this is my last slide. Thank you so much, and happy to take questions.
Any questions regarding
Yes, vous pouvez le poser en français simple ou en anglais, mais il y a un microphone qui vient. Merci.
Okay, can you... Okay. Hello everyone. I'm Justin. I'm the founder. Presentation of the strategy of this country. I just had one question about security concern, because he discussed a lot about building data sets and GitHub repository, whereas I think this was about a national strategy. So I mean, if there is an open source repository related to government affairs, public affairs, I think there might be a lot of security concern, and other people in his country accept that something like that related to the
pourquoi donc il doit y avoir des discussions prises en matière de sécurité au niveau du gouvernement?
Sorry, I could only hear the first half of the question
Can you
because
share with us?
it was interrupted by the France interpretation, the French interpretation. Yeah, yeah. So sorry, I only heard the first half of your question, which is really about security concerns, but I didn't hear the end of your question. I think it was regarding something about data sets and about open source repository of data sets, but you quite trouble you to finish your question because I couldn't really hear the second part, given some interruptions. Yeah, there. Apologies for that. Yes, I can.
Okay. I meant it was really good hearing about the work that you did, but I was really questioning myself when I
Sorry, I
saw
think that there is a double audio. I can of the English interpretation as well as you speaking, which means it's a bit. You want to mute English interpretation. If not, I
maybe I
can't
will
really
mute myself,
hear.
and maybe if the presenter has a better mic, she will maybe yeah. I was just wondering if it wasn't a concern to have like public data or data related to the government on a GitHub repository, and I was really willing and more of how this happened in your country.
It's about when there's partial data available, I believe. Is that right?
When there is governmental data available for open source project or projects that are public. Yeah.
I'm so sorry, but your audio was a bit off. So it's something to do with data sets. I'm very sure of that, but I can't get the exact question. Would it be possible to type it out? Is it possible, Yolanda?
And maybe we should have the
Thank you, thank you. I hear it now. Once again, so sorry for it. I think with regard to tapping on government data sets, right? I think that what we mentioned earlier on is really, given that data is really the lifeblood of AI. Without data, you can't do your AI systems. I think that the point which the playbook really tries to illustrate is really to say that, in some aspects, government can't find ways to share its data with industry, with citizens. And we have some examples from different countries. I think in the playbook itself, the example was from Denmark about how Denmark had selectively, not wholesale, of course, but selectively provided certain government data sets, given that government itself is a huge repository of information provided to industry in a calibrated way, with specific partnerships in place to ensure that some of this data can be used to really fuel AI development. But having said that, you have to ensure that the data is protected, is anonymized properly. So I think that issue of really ensuring that those kind of data agreements have to be in place. But I think that the broader point is to really facilitate and promote more of this sharing so that industry can catalyze and use it for its purposes. Hope I answered the question.
Merci même.
stories.
Dans nos pays.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So this is Emmanuel Vivien Tomi. He's a representative of online press. The first concern is about the security of use of AI technology by the government. And the second concern is about how can we achieve a global AI strategy when we know that we have different level of readiness.
Thank you. Sorry, could you repeat your first question again? Could you repeat? The first one, like the first question.
Of AI technology by the government.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. In terms, let me answer your second question first. In terms of how to develop a global AI strategy, given that different people and different countries are different levels of development, are different geographies, are different places in time. I think that's exactly why we developed this AI playbook for small states in the first place. The whole point of this is really to really say that, hey, we're all at different places, and it would not be fair for us to say that this is your 10-step guide to be successful in AI development in your country, regardless of where you're at, because different people and different countries are at different places. So what we seek to do is instead to say that these are the different areas which you can consider, but what is successful for you, what worked for you may not work for someone else, right? But these are the key ingredients that you need to think about. For example, data, compute, talent. How do you think about these? How do you think about AI safety? But the practical ways of doing so can be different. And I think the other element here is how do we look towards what other people may have done and not reinvent the wheel, right? A lot of different international organizations or countries have launched a variety of things, and a lot of these things are open source in nature. You can take them and you can use them, whether they are frameworks by different leading countries or whether they are practical toolkits or tools which different countries can use. So our thing is about not seeking to reinvent the wheel, prioritizing your efforts, and from there, I think it helps across the board to ensure that AI is used in a well way, and that each country can think about developing your own strategy given your particular context. In terms of your first question, in terms of how does government think about AI security, I think it's not just something when the government uses AI for itself. I think it's not just about government, but the whole ecosystem, right? AI security is a big thing. AI security in terms of both how AI systems itself, based on its very nature, have to be secure by design. But I think secondly, how AI can be used maliciously as for security attacks. Right? I think that recognizing that this is the case. Having said that, I think it's about building up that security by design approach. I think a lot of times governments are a bit wary about using AI because of how they're worried about its misuse. But I think it's about learning to really see how you can do it in a proper way. So let me give you an example. For the Singapore government, for government officials, right, for our own usage, we are able, the Singapore government has launched this thing called PAIR. What PAIR is really, PAIR really repurposed an AI model and used it really and deployed it really for the purposes of the Singapore government. So Singapore officials are able to use PAIR, P-A-I-R, for things like helping draft speeches, for things like helping with minutes of meeting, for things like organizing different things, right? But PAIR is because it is built for government by government. It has the proper security principles, processes, and protocols in place to ensure that it's safe for government officials. There's no leakage of confidential data, etc. Thank you, everyone, and have a good day.